How's it going, everybody? Welcome to We Do Tech, and today we are going to take a look at the Acer Predator XB1 gaming monitor. Now, the one I have here is more of the entry-level one, the 1080p 144Hz that you can overclock to 180Hz monitor. It is the XB241H that is retailing for around $350. So starting off with the design of the XB241H, you do get a 24-inch monitor that does have a more gamery look to it, thanks to the Predator logo on the bottom bezel and the V-shaped stand legs, which is a bit more of a personal thing if you do like the more gamery look to it. I actually do quite like it, but of course that's going to be up to you. However, the stand is quite sturdy and is also able to adjust a fair amount. You can adjust the monitor up and down by 15 centimeters. You can also tilt the display from -5 to 35 degrees and swivel the entire display by 30 degrees, both left or right. Then finally, you can also turn the entire display by 90 degrees to use it in either a landscape or portrait view, but it can only turn towards the right side. However, we're not done with the stand just yet. Along with all of the adjustments, you do also have a neat cable raceway through the stand, which does make cable management a lot easier and also a lot neater. But there's also more. At the top back of the stand, you do get a headphone hanger, which you can hang your headphones there at the back. However, of course, that is going to depend on your setup and your needs. I do have a headphone stand here at the side of my monitor, so I might not use it that much, but if you don't have one, reaching to the back of the monitor isn't really that bad, and yeah, it's nice and neat and out of the way, especially if you do have a wireless headphone. Just reaching, pulling it back is actually quite nice. However, if the stand is a bit too gamery again for you, or if you don't like the headphone stand, you can also take the monitor off the stand and install it onto another VESA mount compatible monitor arm or just against the wall, so you do have that option as well. And then you have a monitor stand that you didn't pay $1,000 for, that you can just use for something else. Just maybe use it as a headphone stand on its own, and again, you didn't spend $1,000 just for a monitor stand, which is crazy. So yeah, that's out of the way. But now getting back into the display, again, it's a 24-inch monitor that does have quite thick bezels at 16 millimeters. Would have liked if it was a bit thinner, but it's not the end of the world, luckily. The XB1 is also quite a bit thick at the back, which isn't honestly a problem because you do have that integrated power supply there, so no annoying power cables that just hang around, or the option of your cat or your dog accidentally chewing off the cable, because that has happened to me, and trying to get a replacement for the power supply can be troublesome sometimes, and it will cost you quite a penny, a few pennies to be exact, quite few pennies. Also included at the back, you do get 2 2-watt back-facing speakers that unfortunately doesn't really perform that well. They're not loud at all. And just comparing it to my Triton 500 laptop, those speakers even sounded better than the built-in monitor speakers, so that is quite unfortunate. You do have it as a backup if you don't have anything, but yeah, it's not honestly the base. Moving on to I/O, you do have your power plug with its on and off switch. You have a single HDMI 1.4 and a DisplayPort 1.2 port, and then also an audio out port. Unfortunately, no USB hub, which would have been a nice inclusion. Then as for the screen quality, you do get a 1080p 144Hz TN panel that you can overclock up to 180Hz, which is awesome. Along with that, you do have a contrast ratio of 1000:1, a max brightness of 350 nits, and a snappy 1 millisecond response time. But now, because this is a TN panel, you are sacrificing on color accuracy for that super high refresh rate, with a 95% sRGB, 68% Adobe RGB, and 71% DCI-P3 color accuracy, which is honestly fine for all of your gaming needs. It's just if you are looking to do some color grading work on it, you won't necessarily do something too high professional. However, I do feel that at the price point, I would have liked to see a bit better color accuracy. You can go calibrated afterwards, but of course that is going to cost you a bit more, but it will increase the color accuracy a tiny bit. It is also worth mentioning that the other XB1 monitors does range in different specs. So if you're looking for something with high resolution or a better display, larger in size, you do have those options, but of course it will cost you a bit more. Now as for gaming, again, you can overclock the display from 144Hz to 180Hz, which is just that a tiny bit more. Now there isn't anything crazy like jumping from 60 or 100Hz to that 144Hz, but for some of the pros it might be a bit more noticeable, for unlike a noob like I am. But be warned, once you go 144Hz, you never go back. And that's my problem currently, where my 60Hz displays, even in Windows, just feel so sluggish. But now, getting into some of the other features, the XB1 does also feature G-Sync. This unfortunately does increase the price somewhat compared to the FreeSync displays, but it does guarantee no tearing and that super smooth frames, especially at that high frame rates. Also, if you are interested, it does feature NVIDIA's 3D vision, but of course you will need to buy the 3D glasses separately from NVIDIA. So yeah, you do have that option at least. But as for gaming, again, gaming at that 180Hz was a blast. Now you will need to play some really fast-paced games to really appreciate that. I played some Counter-Strike and so on, and it was honestly so much fun, and that's why it's so hard going back to my normal 60Hz displays. Just being able to get that super fast flake shots and just that movement out is honestly so worth it, and we'd rather go for a higher refresh rate monitor than a higher resolution one. So yeah, this is definitely a great option if you are looking for that. Now then, as for viewing angles and a backlight bleed, because this is again a TN panel, viewing angles isn't the best. Viewing from the sides, however, is fine, and from the top, but when looking from the bottom, you do get that ugly black blobbish effect, which you do of course get on most or pretty much all of the other TN panels, but you're going to sit straight in front of the monitor, so it honestly shouldn't be a problem. As for backlight bleed, that was also kept to a minimum. Then finally, for the on-screen menu, you can easily access it by using the 6 buttons at the bottom right of the display. You can do all of the basics like change color profiles, select input, adjust the speaker volume, turn on the on-screen crosshairs, which is a nice feature, but I do feel that the 3 included ones wasn't the best designs. It kind of made it a bit harder to see in my opinion, but of course that is going to be up to you. You can also add an FPS counter to the top of the display and then select between 3 game profiles you can set up. Then finally, in the menu, you can also then overclock the display from that standard 144Hz to 180Hz. So in conclusion, the XB241H is a solid G-Sync high refresh rate gaming monitor for the price tag. It pretty much gives you everything that you really need in a gaming monitor. You have that very adjustable stand that I honestly do like, and the headphone hanger, which is cool. You do have that, again, that G-Sync and that high refresh rate 180Hz. You have on a screen display for your FPS counter and then also for your crosshair. And then if you really wanted to, you can use NVIDIA's 3D vision. The only downside for the monitor is going to be the average color accuracy. Would have liked it was a bit better. The speakers wasn't that great. They could have improved that a bit more. You do again have the on-screen crosshairs, which is usable, but the designs wasn't the best. And then also the quite thick bezels. It would have been nice if it was a bit thinner. Also, I would have liked to see a USB hub at the back of the display, even if it was only USB 2. Would have liked to be able to connect my peripherals straight towards the monitor and connect that to the PC, but that is honestly the only downside for the monitor. But overall, the XB241H just was a great experience for a gaming. Honestly, enjoyed my time so much with it, and that high refresh rate is so fun for gaming, and just using it in Windows again. It just feels sluggish if I move back to anything else now. So yeah, great thanks to Acer South Africa for sending the XB241H over for this review. I will leave links in the video description if you guys want to get it for yourself where it's available. And I do hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and comment like always. And then I will check all of you guys next time. Cheers, guys.